Welcome back to Explaining Everything, the channel where we uncover the stories and mysteries behind everyday things. Today's question comes from one of our curious viewers, Paul Sky 304. Thanks for the suggestion, Paul. You asked, why do we write from left to right? If you've ever wondered why most of the world writes in one direction while some languages go the other way, or why left-handed people always seem to struggle with smudged ink, then you're in for a treat. Today, we're diving into the fascinating history of writing direction, from ancient stone carvings to modern-day keyboards. So grab a pen, or don't, because let's be honest, we all type now. And let's get into it, right here on Explaining Everything. So, writing started with ancient civilizations. The first ones to get serious about it were the Sumerians, around 3100 BC. They used cuneiform, which looked like tiny wedge marks, the first ever version of bad handwriting. And guess what? They wrote from left to right. It wasn't just for communication. It was also how they kept track of trade, laws, and even beer rations. But then you had the Egyptians doing hieroglyphs, and they were out here writing in all directions, left to right, right to left, top to bottom, even in spirals. They were just showing off. Some texts even mirrored each other, so the direction depended on which way the figures in the script were facing. The direction of writing often depended on the material they were using. When carving into stone, certain directions were more practical based on hand dominance and tool usage. Papyrus, on the other hand, made things more flexible, allowing for more creativity in script orientation. So while they seemed chaotic, the Egyptians were just maximizing efficiency while also making it look cool. The Greeks came along and made things extra weird. They used a system called boustrophedon, which is a fancy way of saying writing like a cow plows a field. One line went left to right, the next went right to left, then left to right again. Imagine reading a book like that. Absolute madness. Eventually, the Greeks got tired of this cow-walking nonsense and settled on left to right. Why? Because they used ink and brushes instead of chisels. And let me tell you, if you're dragging your brush from right to left, your hand is going to smear that ink all over the place. It also made reading easier, as our eyes tend to move more naturally from left to right in languages that use the Latin alphabet. Once Rome took over and spread their influence across Europe, the left-to-right writing system became the standard for many languages. But wait, not everyone followed the left-to-right bandwagon. Arabic, Hebrew, and Persian go right to left. Why? Because back in the day, they wrote on stone, and chiseling right to left was easier for right-handed scribes. And once it became a tradition, it stuck. Meanwhile, the Chinese and Japanese were like, we're not getting involved in this argument, and went from top to bottom because vertical is the real power move. Interestingly, some East Asian languages have adapted to modern technology by incorporating left-to-right writing in certain contexts, like books and digital text. So even traditional scripts are evolving with the times. This whole left-to-right thing has been great for most people, except for left-handers. Every time a lefty writes, they drag their hand across the fresh ink like a human eraser. It's like the universe decided, you get to be creative, but also suffer Fun fact, the word sinister comes from the Latin word for left-handed. So yeah, historically, left-handers got a pretty bad PR campaign. Despite the struggles, many left-handers have adapted unique writing styles to avoid smudging. Some even curl their hands in an awkward position, making it look like they're solving an ancient puzzle just to write a sentence. Is writing left to right better? Or is it just a habit we can't shake? Well, studies suggest that it might be easier on the brain, especially for languages that use the Latin alphabet. The way our eyes naturally move when reading seems to prefer left to right. But if you ask someone who writes in Arabic or Hebrew, they'd probably say the exact opposite. Turns out, people just like what they're used to. Who would have thought? But here's the real question. Does it even matter anymore? These days, we're all typing more than we're writing. And let's be real, nobody's writing left to right when they're using emojis. That's a universal language. And with voice to text, writing could become an endangered skill. Imagine explaining cursive to future generations. Back in my day, we had to learn fancy squiggles to make words. Yet, despite all these changes, writing isn't going away. It's just evolving. From digital storytelling to AI-generated content, the way we communicate is shifting, but the need for clear and compelling expression remains. Whether it's a tweet, a screenplay, or a novel, the written word still shapes our thoughts, influences our world, and connects us in ways that speech alone can't. So, why do we write from left to right? Mostly because the Greeks and Romans made the rules, and we just never questioned it. But if you want to be different, go ahead. Write backward, upside down, or in spirals like the Egyptians. Just don't expect anyone to be able to read it. And who knows? Maybe in 1,000 years, people will look back at our left-to-right writing and think it's just as weird as we see boustrophedon today. The way we communicate is always evolving, and who's to say we won't end up with an entirely new system? Maybe one that doesn't require smudged ink, sore wrists, or even paper at all. If you like this video, hit that like button and subscribe. Also, if you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for tuning in, and join us next time here in the channel that answers all the why, what, who, where, and how questions you've always wondered about, here on Explaining Everything.